This is another video in our continuing series of Don't Make These Mistakes when you use LensAlign FocusTune. Customer was kind enough to send these pictures of his setup, so let's analyze what he's doing. He's using flash bounced off the ceiling, which is great to get a really good picture of the ruler, which is what FocusTune uses to analyze, and the target. Both have to be illuminated properly, and this bounce setup looks like it'll do very well. The LensAlign is mounted on a relatively inexpensive tripod, which is great because once you set it up, as long as you don't kick the tripod, there's no reason for it to be a heavy tripod. This, on the other hand, is not a good setup. The long extended center column is actually going to move quite a bit, and this customer also had shot-to-shot movement of the camera when he defocuses, so that contributes to the problem. I understand that it's hard to get the legs extended because of the narrow hallway, but just in general, you don't want to have this long extended column and this ball head. Anyway, it's not the most stable setup, and it's a good idea to put a weight on the bottom of the tripod just so you don't kick it accidentally. When you defocus, just touch the lens ever so slightly, because the less you can move the camera between shots, the better it is, and give it a chance to stabilize. He's using a cable release, so that's great. So, other than the tripod issue, the setup is fine. If we take a look at his alignment shot in terms of positioning with true parallel alignment, we see exactly what we should see. The hole is right in the center, so that's great. However, in order for true parallel alignment to work, there are two things that must be happening. One, the rear hole must be centered on the front sighting hole, exactly like it is here, so that's perfect. But the number two thing that must happen is this must coincide with exactly the center of the frame. And we can see that it's not in two ways. One, we can glance at it and see the center of the frame looks more like here, just looking at the screen. But if we zoom in on any photo app that you have, you can see that the center of the screen is somewhere where my cursor is, around here, and this is here. So the camera must be moved. Like I said, there are two things that must happen. One, the concentricity of the front and rear sighting holes, but that concentricity must exist at the center of the frame, which is roughly where my hand is. And if we look in FocusTune, of course, it'll tell you that. Whether you have the large focus target on there for when you're shooting or not, that's the design of the crosshair. The crosshair is simply the center of the frame. And what you have to do is move the camera or the LensAlign such that it's centered. Moving along to the last issue here, and that's exposing with flash is fine, but there are two subjects when photographing the LensAlign. One is the target and one is the ruler. Both must be illuminated well for FocusTune to work well, but think, and it will in this shot with the flash, which is going to look like this. But what does the ambient shot look like? This is the ambient shot, which means that it's a very low light level, and we're asking the camera to focus in very low light, and that's going to make it focus erratically. Okay, the lower the light, the harder it is for the autofocus to work and do its thing. So we want to be shooting the target, which is step number one. The camera doesn't care about the ruler, it only cares about the target, and the target must be illuminated well regardless of the final illumination. For FocusTune, you must have good illumination so that the autofocus can lock on and attain a good focus. So this customer was suffering from erratic focus, where each shot was kind of different and didn't get a consistency, and that just makes sense. The lower the light, the harder it is for the camera to focus, and we need to give it a good, reasonable, even light in order for it to do its job. The other thing I'll mention is that the user should be using the other side of the ruler, which is designed for FocusTune. So this sign is for visual sighting, and the other side is best for FocusTune. Either one can be used, but the other side for FocusTune is a little better. So I hope that answers a bunch of questions. Okay, see you next time.